to have a flat track. And when they got to the outskirts of London, they came through and they were knocking down houses, mostly, of course, poor people's houses and places where they lived. And of course the railway companies said, oh, we'll compensate you, and they didn't. This was Victorian times, although to be honest we're not much better now. So the City of London, which is where people wanted to get to the financial district, they said stop. And if you look at a map, there's London, and the mainline stations coming in from east, south, northwest stop in a sort of ring around the edge. And so London was very busy and crowded, and everything was drawn by horses, although the railways had started using steam engines. So a train would come in and hundreds of people would pour off this train onto the streets of London at one of the terminal stations, and then they had to get to the city. So it was a question of horse buses, hansom cabs, and a very crowded city became worse. Anyway, eventually, 1863, the Metropolitan Railway came up with the idea of digging up the road and laying some track under it and covering it over. And that's how most subways in the world are built. The whole of the New York subway is cut and cover. They call it cut and cover because you've got a hole, you lay a track, you cover it over, put the road back. Very expensive, very disruptive, until someone came up with the brilliant idea of, because London is built on clay, they came up with this shield, this circular thing, and deep under London, they literally bored a hole, a round hole, which is why the London Underground is called the Tube. And then they've got these little trains with sort of curved roofs, and the doors go up into the roof that run along them. And that train that I just showed you was the Victoria line. There's quite a lot of videos about it. Interestingly, I'm not reading the badges again. Do you live in close proximity to London? Yeah, I was just talking about that, about 100 miles north. Or have they moved on? Have you seen Guess the Train Station? Oh, no, I must have stopped it doing. Music of the Jam, you remember the Jam? Going underground or down the tube. Yeah, that's right, you're absolutely right. Floris Toxopius. Greek. Hello, Brian, can I get a hi? Hello. Hi. Thought it was called the Tube because it was tube-shaped. Well, yeah, it is. You see, it is a tube. The drivers call it the pipe. Absolutely brilliant. I wonder if I can find you a little bit of... There's a chap called Dale Sharman. Let me see if I can find you. I'm going to turn it round again, flip the camera. Have we flipped? Yeah. This is YouTube. And in fact, have you seen this bloke? Francis Bourgeois. He's so funny. He's an absolute fanatical. A mod or a rocker? There's a question. I wasn't particularly one of the others, but I definitely would have been a mod. Where's my page? Oh, hang on a minute. I can do this from following, can't I? Absolutely not. Let me go to my page. View your channel. Welcome to my YouTube. Be quiet. Have you seen that, by the way? If you haven't, you ought to nip to my channel. If you've never seen this before, it's a bio. So if you don't know who I am, let me just play you this. 2025 is the year that it's going to actually come. That's not the right one. Where's my bio? I moved it, didn't I? Da-da-da-da. Oh well, we'll try that another day. King's Cross to London on the country. This one might. I'll take you to the London Transport Museum and show you how they solved the problem. We want the Piccadilly line, the gate line, the escalator. Stand on the right. Piccadilly, east and west. We want west. Typical tube station. A large tunnel. Lots of people. And here's a train. Crowded. Jumps about a bit, doesn't it? That's the style I used. See how the top's curved? I'm going to stop it. Do you see how those doors, they actually curve into the roof? So when you're standing there, I mean, my head comes just under that. You are standing... I've got a mate who can't stand up inside a tube train. Go on. Now, you just caught a glimpse of it there. I think there's a slightly better view. Yeah, do you see that? That's why it's called the tube, because it is running literally in a tube. It is a round tunnel, and see how the train just fits. There's only about 6 inches clearance. I've got a friend who is worked in engineering for many years, and he said there are places inside the tunnel where the roof of the tunnel is shiny, where the trains just touch it. That is amazingly tight. Let's just finish that one and see what happens. There, see it go? And suddenly the platform empties. I'll take you to the London Transport Museum. Right, that's where that one ends. All very interesting. What was I going to show you? I was going to show you subscriptions. Here we are. I'm going to show you Dale Sharman because... oh dear. This is not easy. Nothing. When you're trying to do it like this, nothing is easy. Let's do it like this. Dale... if you like the London Tube, find Dale Sharman. Because he's been stopped. He does travel. He goes all over the world and he does travel videos. But he did quite a lot of London Underground journeys. And they've stopped him filming from the cab. Look at that.
Central Men, personalised.
Got to wait through. I have to say, I never watch adverts. They can do them all they like. I silence it by stabbing the mute button, and then I don't look at it or I put my hand over it. There we are. Skip. Hate adverts with a vengeance. There, look at that.
Everyone on. Yeah, let's go. Piccadilly Circus next.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm sure someone would know. But I wonder what was named first. Was Piccadilly Circus Station
it's
named?
reflecting me, isn't it?
Piccadilly Line got its name from that? Or did they name it after the Piccadilly Line and that's why the area is called Piccadilly Circus?
That's better.
Who knows? I'm sure someone does.
That's the driver's view through the pipe.
Got a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit just coming up here. We are slightly downhill. I'm doing about 25.
And that goes into a station. Look at that.
Good evening all. How are we all? You all well? Good evening. Hello. Good evening. No one says it back. So rude.
He's so funny.
Piccadilly Circus.
Piccadilly Circus, that's the station I'm on. Yeah, if you like the tube, look for Dale Sharman. He also travels all over the world. It's rather good. What is it? It's 11:45. I need to be going. A lot of people say invite Candle Flasher to join as a host. I don't know what would happen if I did that. Never been to Rhodesia, never been to Hong Kong. Let me follow. Thank you for people who are following me. There are, I mean, if you go to my page, there are hundreds of videos, and they tend to be about all sorts of different things. I was going to say my problem. I think I am just interested in so many things. I was a primary school teacher, so it sort of suited my personality. These days, education has changed a bit. You have a curriculum and it is delivered to you. Can you imagine delivering a curriculum? I've never delivered a curriculum. I helped the milkman deliver milk when I was a child, and I had a job helping deliver the Christmas post when I was a teenager. But I've never delivered a curriculum. What you do is you teach children, you inspire them, you enthuse them. Not these days. You have this curriculum delivered to you. And it's very, very academic. In my day, it was, it's snowing. Whoa, great, it's snowing. Let's go and feel it, touch it. Let's write some poetry about it. Let's learn about it. What is it? You sort of were inspired by the world around you. And hopefully kids in my class, some of the stuff would inspire them. These days, in school, you have to learn maths, you have to learn English, you have to learn this. Where's the music? Where's the art? Where's the dancing? Where's the creativity? Tends not to happen, which is a shame. And now look, I'll tell you what, I can't resist it. I'm going to turn it around again, because there's another thing you've got to watch if you've never seen it. You go to YouTube and you type RSI, right, which is the Royal Society. Do you know? I can't remember. No, RSI? RSA. Although it did find it. RSA, Royal Society of Arts. That's it. Royal Society of Arts. And the one you want is that one. Now, I think it's there because I've watched it before. It's called Changing Education Paradigms. If you type any of that, what you will get is this chap. You recognise it immediately, and it is quite...
Or at different times of the day, or better in small groups than large groups.
I love Monday.com.
What's Monday.com?
You don't...
Adverts, excuse me. There will be a short intermission. Let's have a look around the room. Look, there's some books. Oh, we're all right. It's gone skip. Yeah. Skip, sound back. Right. This is how it begins. It's rather amusing.
Every country on earth at the moment is reforming public education. There are two reasons for it. The first of them is economic. People are trying to work out, how do we educate our children to take their place in the economies of the 21st century? How do we do that? Given that we can't anticipate what the economy will look like at the end of next week, as the recent turmoil is demonstrating. How do we do that? The second, though, is cultural. Every country on earth is trying to figure out, how do we educate our children so they have a sense of cultural identity and so that we can pass on the cultural genes of our communities while being part of the process of globalization? How do we square that circle? The problem is they're trying to meet the future by doing what they did in the past. And on the way, they're alienating millions of kids who don't see any purpose in going to school. When we went to school, we were kept there with a story, which is if you worked hard and did well and got a college degree, you would have a job. Our kids don't believe that. And they're right not to, by the way. You're better having a degree than not, but it's not a guarantee anymore. And particularly not if the route to it marginalizes most of the things that you think are important about yourself. Some people say we have to raise standards as if this is a breakthrough. Like, really, yes, we should. Why would you lower them? I haven't come across an argument that persuades me of lowering them. But raising them, of course we should raise them. The problem is that the current system of education was designed and conceived and structured for a different age. It was conceived in the intellectual culture of the Enlightenment.
Anyway, I'm going to stop there. We could go on. It's ever so watchable. And what he's saying is that schools are like factories. The bells ring and cohorts of children move from one place to another. It's like a shift change, isn't it? The factory whistle sounds and the next shift comes in, and they work the machines for so many hours, and then the whistle signs and they get a break. It's an industrial model. Schools are basically factories, and children in schools are subject to this curriculum. Why are you organised according to your year of manufacture? I don't know about you, but when I look at human beings, when I look at children, I notice there are tall ones, short ones, fat ones, thin ones, ones with light hair. I mean, look at me, oldie. Ones with dark hair. We are all different. And yet when it comes to learning things, academic learning is said to be most important. And the best way to teach it is to group all the children who were born in 2010 together. They'd be 15 now, wouldn't they? All the children who were born in 2020, they're coming to start school, and because they were born in 2020, they are all exactly the same. So we'll put them into classes of 30 and we'll teach the same thing every day. I mean, when you look at it like that, It is stupid. The problem, of course, is what would education in the 21st century actually look like? And I don't have an answer to that. And in the meantime, the politicians say, we're going to teach English, and all those children who get good marks will give us a number. And if we can get more children to get good marks, even if they hate it, it'll show what a good government we are, so vote for us. And they have this simplistic view of education. And honestly, it is such rubbish, and it so needs to change. I'm ranting, aren't I? I need to stop. It's 10 to 12. Was I going to show you something else? Probably. Yeah. There's a lovely, yeah, it's probably why I didn't do great at school. Yeah, exactly so. Now, who am I talking to? Hey, Balaam. Yeah. Why I didn't do that great? You are absolutely right. Do you know my favourite example? A chap called Gill, A. Gill, I think it was Adrian something Gill, Gill. He was dyslexic, and he had a rubbish time at school because they thought he was thick. He thought he was thick. He just thought he was stupid because he could not read and he could not write. He just couldn't get those squiggles on the page. Look at those squiggles. Oh, 1 minute. Look at those squiggles, you know, what is that? We can all go, uncover the power of technology for unmatched results. We don't need to read it. I wonder if, let me, right, give me somebody in the comments, give me a sentence. I've got to look at the comments now, haven't I? Oh, there they are, yeah. Type me a sentence that we can turn into Chinese. How is your day? I'm doing all right. Hello. Are you a No, it says George Tut. Now, if it says George Tut and your name is Brian, it is very confusing. The man went to the shop. Seems good to me. Right, hold on. The man went to the shop. Okay, that's all right. So what I'll do is I shall just say, I pressed return and I shouldn't have done it. It's now going to reply to, this sentence is grammatically correct and clear. If you'd like an expanded version or further detail, let me know. So what I'll do, sorry, I didn't mean to press return. A minute. I'd like you to translate it into Chinese for me, please. There you go. Okay, now, how many of you can read that? I have to say that I can't. I have no idea what that says, but if you were Chinese, you would be able to read that, no question. Could you write it in Russian, please? Now, as it happens, I can read that. Mushchina, oh God, Mushchina, Mushchina poszedł w magazyn. Mushchina wszedł. Blimey O'Reilly. The point is, hold on, let me get my face back again. I have no idea what the point I'm trying to make. I'm 79, I tend to lose track halfway through a sentence. Eric Gill found that letters did not make words for him. Looking at that Chinese, looking at that Russian, they probably don't make words for you. If you were dyslexic in England, English words wouldn't make sense to you. And he had a terrible time. When he left school, it was right at the beginning of the computer thing. The first PCs had arrived, 1980s. And fairly early on, there was a program called Dragon, Strictly Speaking. and you could talk to the computer and it would put your words up. Now, I just did it, and it's absolutely... In fact, I've left it on. Let me just show you something. I've left it on. So, hold on a minute. Everything I'm saying to you is dutifully being put into ChatGPT. Let me just stop it. Right, shut up. And you'll notice that it's extremely accurate. In those days, it wasn't accurate. When he was at school... Oh, I haven't turned it around. That's my window. You like my window, don't you? Flip the camera. That's it. Hello. Anyway, he discovered this thing, and he could talk, and his words became rather badly written on the screen. But a secretary could see what he'd written and correct the mistakes. Do you know what? He became a writer for the Times newspaper. More importantly, he was incredibly good. I used to read his stuff, and there would be a long article, and when you read it, it painted pictures in your mind. His use of language was so good, but he couldn't read and he couldn't write. What he could do was talk and think and all the other things that human beings do. And I always regard that as a brilliant example of how wrong education is. Every one of us is different. These days, they capture, they identify dyslexia and they give you extra lessons. We need something totally different. We've got new people. And where do you live in the UK? About 100 miles north of London. Russian. There's a TikTok somewhere about Russian. In fact, on the TikTok page, just at the top of those videos, there's some words and they're playlists. And I think one of them says Russian. And you'll see some early videos I made about how I came to learn Russian. I've been learning it ever since, and I'm rubbish at it. I can, however, say... Does anyone speak Russian? If I say, «Я говорю по-русски очень плохо», you'll know that I'm saying I speak Russian very badly. I can say brilliant things. Thank you, Churi. I can say brilliant things. I can say, «Вы выходите в следующая остановка», which means, are you getting off at the next stop? And it's no use in England at all. You love Undertime Slopper. Where's Undertime Slopper gone? Anyone seen him lately? He's great fun. My daughter has dyslexia, and she is brilliant. Exactly so. How's she gotten on at school? Are they catering for her needs? What is it that's... I've got something on there, haven't I? Or is she finding that she must learn English spelling and gerunds and past participles and various parts of speech, and she's finding herself not able to do it? And what are they going to do about exams and tests? She's not going to get, 80 out of 100, is she, if she's dyslexic? I'm hoping that they are meeting her needs. But really, in a 21st century curriculum, a 21st century school, her needs are being met in a different way. School would be exposing her to singing, dancing, music. It would be expose her to poetry, to writing, to reading, to listening. It would be exposing her to talking to the computer and generating words that other people can read. I don't think any schools are really doing that properly yet. Never been good at typing. Autocorrect would be unintelligible. Yeah. I type much less. You saw me just talking to the computer, talking to ChatGPT, and I do it on here. If I'm doing a text, I usually tap the little microphone and speak. In fact, most of the time when I don't do it, it's when my wife comes by and saying, "What did you say? Who are you talking to?" So I turn it off and I type, and it's very laborious typing. Dragon Dictate at uni, did you really? Yeah. What was it like? I did try, I don't know if it was Dragon Dictate or one of those early ones, and there were too many mistakes. These days, it's incredible. There you are. Haven't seen your videos in a hot minute. Very happy you're still in the app. I am. I make one I post to TikTok most days. Technology today, dyslexia isn't nearly so big as it is. Oh, you're absolutely right. Dyslexia is not a problem. The problem is schools. Took typing classes, never got the hang of it. No, I cannot do touch typing. Can't do it at all. I was watching something the other day. It showed the typing pool, a room with tables, and every table had a typewriter on it. And at every typewriter was sitting a woman, because it was very much a gender-specific job. And the people in the company would need a letter typing to be posted, and they would send it down to the typing pool, and they'd written it with by hand, and the lady would read it, type it, and send it off. Absolutely amazing. Canada, hello Canada, fantastic. Do you mean are you